The main battle tank is a hallmark of modern warfare. Since the final years of the First World War, the land battleship concept has enchanted the minds of ground warfare planners. At present, there are 10 tanks that stand out above all others. Armor, speed, mobility, strength were once all key components in determining which nation had the greatest tanks. During the Second World War, the Germans were known for the technical prowess and innovation of their engineers. German tanks were the envy of the world. Yet, they were costly and hard to mass produce. The American tanks, on the other hand, were believed to be lesser tanks than the German rivals. Yet, the Americans could easily mass produce these tanks and essentially swarm the enemy battle formations. While sophistication can define the greatness of a modern main battle tanks, perhaps there's more than just sophistication that should be the metric for defining greatness. Things like survivability, affordability, reliability, and reproductivity should all be factors in determining a tank's greatness. We must also keep in mind what the purpose of a tank really is. Now back to the darkest days of World War I, when the first tanks were developed and deployed. Back then, the battle lines had been static. The offensive war of maneuver initiated by Germany in 1914 had been degraded and replaced by a defensive-oriented trench war. Both sides had tired of the interminability of the conflict. Both sides had effectively frozen the war along those trenches, unable to overcome the other. Both sides sought decisive advantages to break through, and the only way to bust through those lines was with technology. Hence, the advent of the tank. From that point on, through every war since, the basic purpose of the tank in attack was to punch through fortified enemy lines with fast-moving heavy armor and weapons, as well as to push deep into the enemy's rear, so as to create an overall tactical opportunity for your side to encircle and break the entrenched enemy's resistance. But today, main battle tanks must contend with a bevy of new threats. Things like Javelin anti-tank weapons, aerial drones laden with explosives, sophisticated improvised explosive devices, and other unconventional systems have given defenders significant advantages. And it seems that the more modern the tank, the more damaging to an attacking force their loss is. With this in mind, these are the top 10 tanks on planet Earth right now. Number 10. British Challenger 3. The next generation replacement for the Challenger 2 main battle tank is really more of an upgrade rather than a total replacement. Although, the new tanks are said to have increased capabilities, thanks largely to their network-enabled computer systems and the new, even more powerful main cannon. In this case, the tank is being built with 120mm high-pressure main gun, which, the maker of the Challengers, will shoot the latest kinetic energy anti-tank rounds and programmable multi-purpose ammunition. The tank is equipped for modern electronic warfare capabilities and has enhanced armor protection for its crew, as well as high-tech sensors that allow for long-range target acquisition and tracking for the tank commander. This tank is hugely expensive and is unlikely to be mass-produced in the numbers that Britain would need to make this tank truly worth it. Number 9. British Challenger 2. The British Challenger 2 is one of the most overhyped main battle tanks imaginable. A third-generation tank, it is in use by the British Army in Oman. Equipped with an 120mm tank gun, firing both long rod penetrator and high explosive squash head ammunition natures. This tank was given over to the Ukrainian during the tank craze last year. Sadly, the Challengers are far too heavy and get bogged down in the soft soil of the Ukrainian battlefield. While these main battle tanks had successful deployments in both Bosnia and Iraq, the fact of the matter is that they did not go up against a near-peer competitor, such as the Russians. Reports indicate that the Challengers have already suffered at least 2 casualties since they were deployed late last year, largely because they are not mobile in the Ukrainian soft soil. So, this tank is completely overrated. Number 8. German Leopard 2. This tank is one of the most advanced main battle tanks in the world. It was billed as the tank that would save the flailing Ukrainian in the second year of their thus far 3-year campaign against Russian invaders. Yet, these tanks have hardly made the difference we were assured they would make. In fact, images have proliferated across the internet showing the Russians dragging a battle-damaged Leopard back to Moscow to put on display after it was abandoned by its Ukrainian tank crew in battle. These tanks are sophisticated, they are maneuverable, they have efficient engines and even greater firepower. But, as with all Western technology, there aren't enough of them available, and the system is far too expensive and complex to easily reproduce in a timely fashion. In the areas where these tanks can mass, they can be quite effective. but there will never be enough of these tanks to fight against the incoming hordes of Russian invaders. Number 7. Russian T-14 Armata. Billed as Russia's greatest tank, this tank is almost too overrated to waste time writing about. Yes, it is truly next level, but it is so advanced that it's way too expensive and complicated to produce in large numbers. Because of its unique technological nature, the tank was pulled early on from the front line of Ukraine out of fear that losing even one of these main battle tanks would be gravely detrimental to Russia. So, regardless of the high level of technology built into this platform, irrespective of how scared of it Western strategists are, it's a wasting asset for Russia. Number 6. Chinese T-99. Developed in 2000, this third-generation main battle tank is a strange knockoff of the old Soviet T-90 and merges ripped-off designs from other Western tanks, mixing them together in the T-99. For example, it possesses the modular add-on explosive reactive armor that made Germany's aforementioned Leopard 2 so popular. It has an active laser protection system that helps defend it against incoming missiles, disrupts enemy tank optical gear, and can even be deployed against enemy helicopters. China has mass-produced 1,200 of these tanks over the last 20 years, making it the backbone of its armor force. Although, these tanks are relatively untested in combat, still, it's a relatively affordable, easily mass-produced tank that brings with it some helpful features. While the American M1 Abrams is likely a better tank, the fact of the matter is that China's ability to outproduce equipment means that the Americans will be at a deficit. Number 5. Korean K2 Black Panther. Peter Suchu has described this tank as the world's greatest main battle tanks. It has an excellent engine, incredible defenses, a potent 120mm smoothbore gun that can fire up to 10 to 15 rounds per minute. South Korea created this next-generation main battle tanks to counter what it feared would be an eventual North Korean invasion. It surpasses anything the North Koreans have in their arsenal. There's just one problem: the K2 is wildly expensive. In a long-term war in which South Korean infrastructure is destroyed or seriously damaged, how can one mass-produce this system and maintain it? Save for that, the electronic warfare capability and overall technical prowess in combat that this tank exhibits should make it the best tank in the world. But it will be difficult to replace these systems once they are lost in large numbers in a major war, making these systems suspect. Number 4. French Leclerc XL. This main battle tank is designed for speed and maneuver. It can travel 50 miles per hour and can blast targets as far as 2.5 miles away. This tank is lighter than many of its third-generation main battle tank counterparts, such as the M1 Abrams. Because of its lightness, it is nowhere near as well armored as the other tanks it competes against are. The Leclerc does possess reactive armor, though, just like the Leopard IIs do. Only 3 other nations operate this tank. It has a limited combat record. Although, it was used by the United Arab Emirates when that country intervened in the Yemen civil war, where observers said that the Leclerc performed better than did the Saudi arsenal of American-made M1 Abrams main battle tanks. The production line ended in 2008 and 50 upgraded versions are currently being made. Again, though, mass-producing these tanks will be difficult and they may not fare well against a near-peer rival, such as Russia. Number 3. Israel's Merkava V. Nicknamed Barak, or Lightning, Israel's Merkava V main battle tank not only has advanced technology, such as sensors and electronic warfare abilities, but it also has an artificial intelligence system. It has one 120mm smoothbore gun that has been developed by Israel Military Industries, able to fire high-penetration projectiles and guided shells with a firing range of up to 4,000 meters. The second armament consists of a 7.62mm coaxial machine gun, a 7.62mm machine gun mounted on the right side of the turret roof, and an internally mounted 60mm breech-loaded mortar. Its sensors and electronics are incredible and it has an impressive engine. It is currently deployed in a limited fashion with the IDF. Considering that Israel is a small country and is not seeking a wider ground war against a near-peer adversary, the Israelis have both an incredible tank and they likely can produce enough of them to maintain fighting capabilities. Number 2. American M1 Abrams. A legendary main battle tank with a marvelous service record, this tank is one of the world's finest systems. Sadly, it is aging, and the upgraded Abrams X version, while it will be even more sophisticated than its predecessor, it is likely no longer relevant to the battlefield. The Ukraine war alone has proven how drones are far more effective in warfare than our main battle tanks. And these tanks are expensive and hard to reproduce, thanks to America's utterly broken defense industrial base. What's more, the Abrams promised to Ukraine have not fully deployed and will not make the kind of tactical difference Ukraine expects them to. Number 1. Russian T-72. The reason that this old Soviet tank is the best in the world is because of the fact that it is used by multiple countries. It is easy to operate and cheap. The Russians have found that their war in Ukraine has not gone well by using either its T-90M main battle tanks or its aforementioned T-14 Armata. The T-72 has kept the Russians in the fight. What's more, these systems are easy to mass produce, and when they're lost, it doesn't really matter, because Russia can simply produce many more. The T-72, despite the drones and other hardships it has endured, is winning the war against Ukraine for Russia. It isn't being done with any finesse, but it's getting the job done. That's why this is the greatest tank in the world today. Tell us in the comments section which one you think should come first. Thank you for watching.